Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, December 16, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. All right, so we've been watching this area across the central and eastern Gulf of Mexico that is forecast to bring a lot of rainfall to section of the southern and eastern United States, and it has already started. You can see a lot of clouds associated with it across portions of the southern and eastern United States, including Florida, the Bahamas, sections of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, and even sections of especially western Jamaica gotten on some amount of rainfall from the system today, and there's definitely more where that came from tonight into tomorrow and into early Monday morning. If we actually take a look at the models in terms of where the system is going, this is where it's located right now, as indicated by those greens, yellows, reds, and the L that represents the area of low pressure. And we're taking a look at both the Euro and the GFS models, the Euro model first, and we're only going out a couple of days. So we can see that it's expected to make it onshore across portions of northwestern Florida. And we can see the tail end of this system is expected to continue to bring some amount of rainfall to sections of the Greater Antilles, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, Jamaica, as indicated by those greens. And then by Tuesday, the system should be out of here. We see more in the way of whites that represent little to no rainfall as well as sunshine, but we can't rule out some amount of rainfall coming into sections of northern Jamaica, especially with that northeasterly flow of winds that are expected to come into the island by that time. And the GFS is showing something similar. Heaviest of the weather associated with it on Sunday into early Monday. And then by Tuesday, majority of the heaviest weather associated with it should be out of here. Taking a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast by both the Euro and the GFS, we're taking a look at the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days. And we see the consensus. Jamaica not going to be getting in on those purples that represent up to 2 inches of rainfall or more. More of that rainfall is confined to the southern and eastern United States, the Bahamas, sections of the Cayman Islands, Cuba, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. Jamaica is embedded in more in the way of some darker shades of greens, blues, and those lighter shades of blues on the Euro model. GFS, something similar. More of that rainfall across northeastern Jamaica with that purple. Either way, for the most part, up to 1 inch of rainfall, close to 2 inches of rainfall at most. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that cold front, or that surface trough of cold front, pushing all the way from northern sections of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of the Bahamas, sections of Florida, the Gulf of Mexico attached to that airflow pressure. And we can see it all even better on the visible satellite images of the Atlantic. The clouds associated with that cold front stretching all the way over, bring a lot of clouds, showers, and thunderstorms to sections of the southeastern United States coast, the Bahamas, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, sections of Jamaica getting in on some of that. You can also see a low level flow of clouds coming into sections of the Leeward Islands, definite sections of Antigua and Barbuda, St. Barts, sections of the US and British Virgin Islands, just like what we predicted yesterday, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic. You can also see some of that rainfall coming into sections of Barbados, sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, Grenada getting in on some of that as well. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, December 16. It was stated that some rainfall would affect sections of eastern Jamaica in the morning hours, then spreading to sections of central and western Jamaica during the afternoon. What ended up happening? By the way, for your information, Eastern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, St. Thomas. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, so St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, so St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. And what ended up happening? We can see that a post was made on her Twitter page, not only her Twitter page, but her Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok page. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us at Weather Jamaica as we make other posts there throughout the day that are not made here on our YouTube page. So at 12:56 p.m., we saw that the visible satellite images were posted showing clouds bringing overcast skies and isolated showers to sections of eastern, central, and western Jamaica. More so eastern and western parishes in Jamaica at that time, not so much the central areas. And then at 2:40 p.m., the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted, highlighting the greens and some darker shades of greens, even close to yellows. They represent rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica, definitely sections of St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James got in on some of that. And for the most part, it was overcast across majority of the island. Some of her comments on our Facebook page from some of our followers confirmed this. Kiva Gray stating overcast in Linstead, St. Catherine, K. Wattle, heavy showers in Mobe, Georgette Matthews, overcast skies in Jacks Hall, St. Anne. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can see that for the most part we had those high level clouds being pushed from west to east, and those low level clouds coming in from the east southeast just as predicted. Taking a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we see much of the same. More do have those gray colors that represent those low level clouds, those blues and greens that represent those high level clouds. And as it relates to the cube and Doppler radar images, this is why we love the radar images, because we see a lot of clouds, we don't know what's taking place. More do we have overcast skies, but we have the Doppler radar images that show the actual rainfall. That's why we really hope that the radar from the Jamaican side Met Service is fixed soon. So we're looking at the latest Doppler radar images that came out at 6:50 p.m. The time is now 7 p.m. and we can see that we have some amount of rainfall coming in from the south to affect sections of western and southwestern Jamaica. So maybe sections of southern Manchester, southern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland might get some amount of rainfall tonight. Some rainfall right there to the north of Portland, and all of that is moving towards the north. And we could experience some more of that rainfall spilling into sections of some central and eastern parishes tonight into tomorrow as the day progresses. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see we have 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by 3 a.m. on Sunday, the temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperatures for tomorrow, we can see that this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Sunday. When we calculate that, that's 1 p.m. And we can see Jamaica embedded in some yellows and some slight oranges. And we can see that by the key on the right, the yellows and slight oranges represent 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of December, as we can see by this bar graph, represent 87 degrees Fahrenheit, and we know that 87 degrees Fahrenheit, when we take a look at the thermometer, is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So, with the forecast calling for 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures for Jamaica for tomorrow, we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 31 or 32 degrees Celsius for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can see that we have more and we have moist air across portions of the Caribbean associated with that area of low pressure. We see more and we have blues. We can see by the key at the bottom, the dry air is represented by the yellows, oranges, reds, and whites within those reds. Yes, we do have some amount of dry air across the southern portions of the Caribbean, sections of the northeastern Caribbean and areas to the north of there, not to mention the waters of the main development region. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, majority of Jamaica should be in the clear, as all the dust associated with the Sahara Desert should be across the main development region and Africa, as indicated by those browns. As related to the wave forecast, we're seeing more in the way of blues surrounding the island of Jamaica for Sunday. And we know all of these blues, as we can see by the key on the bottom right, represent 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong. Look at the wind forecast. We can see the blues and the greens, and we know the blues represent anywhere from 5 to 10 knot winds. The greens represent 10 to close to 20 knot winds, and we don't see much in the way of strong winds across the island for tomorrow. We do see that the flow should be coming in from the south for tomorrow, so any rainfall that's expected, and we know that this is because of the area of low pressure. If we take a look at the wider view, we can see all of the areas coming in from the northwest across the Gulf of Mexico, coming in across the Western Caribbean, and the air from the Atlantic, all courtesy of that high pressure coming in from the east. And all of this area is starting to meet up across that area near Jamaica, where we have more of a southerly flow. So I guess Jamaica is the meetup point for both of those ear masses. So the ear coming in from the east, the ear coming in from the northwest. All of that is piling up across Jamaica coming in from the south, which explains all the rainfall that we spoke about. So all of this is going to be funneling across Jamaica tomorrow. Very interesting times. Very, very interesting weather is going to be taking place within the next 24 hours. So, yes, all of those winds coming in from the south, and it's definitely going to be bringing more in the way of some rainfall to sections of the island for tomorrow, especially for the north coast of Jamaica. Look at that upper level flow of winds coming in from the southwest. And we know that usually favors sections of northern Jamaica if we're going to be getting in on some amount of afternoon convection throughout the afternoon. Either way, whatever comes off of the sea from the south is going to be affecting southern Jamaica at first. So definitely sections of St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, sections of St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. Then by afternoon, whatever develops, wherever we have those blues, those darker shades of blue, that's where all of the air is going to be piling up. So maybe sections of Trelawney, sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland might get in on some of that, and that's where the afternoon convection is going to be taking place if there's some amount of afternoon convection building up. Either way, we're here for the meat of the matter. This is what we're here for, the rainfall forecast. This map from the Euro and from the GFS is showing the rainfall that's expected at a certain time. This is valid for 12 a.m. midnight tonight. What do we see? We see blues that represent rainfall across sections of the southern coastal areas, especially eastern Jamaica is where we see the rainfall. So maybe St. Thomas, Portland, section of coastal areas of Clarendon. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Skipping ahead to about 5 a.m., seeing much of the same. Maybe the water is to the south of Jamaica, especially on the western side where we're seeing that rainfall. Skipping ahead now to about 10 a.m. Still seeing much of the same, more in the way of blues across sections of some southern and eastern parishes in Jamaica. Then finally, by 4 p.m., even before 4 p.m., as soon as the afternoon cracks, we're seeing more blues, more widespread, more rainfall across sections of eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. Most of Jamaica should be getting in on that rainfall. So, as predicted, sections of southern Jamaica throughout the day, the afternoon hours, especially for northern Jamaica. So, we'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, both accumulated precipitation forecasts maps are showing rainfall, and we're starting to see something different from what we've been seeing all along. Usually, we're used to all of the rainfall piling up across eastern Jamaica or northeastern Jamaica. Look at what we're seeing for the next 24 hours. Keep in mind that both of these maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. Not saying that it's going to be raining all the way up until then, but within that time frame, these are the spots that are going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall. So we do see those greens and yellows that represent up to the 0.31 of an inch of rainfall on the south coast. The eastern portions of the island might be picking up to 0.54 of an inch of rainfall. That's on the GFS. The Euro is a bit less robust. On the eastern side, up to 0.35 of an inch of rainfall, up to 0.48 of an inch of rainfall. We saw that the GFS is showing less rainfall for the south central portion of the island. The western portion of the island seems to be picking up more rainfall on the Euro, up to 0.52 of an inch of rainfall. North Coast seeing more greens, less rainfall, as well on the as well as on the GFS. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. Both of the maps are showing rainfall, some amount of rainfall for sections of the island of Jamaica for tomorrow. So if you have to get that laundry done, persons on the north coast, get it done early. The south coast people, you should have gotten the laundry done today, if not tonight into early tomorrow. So hopefully you'll get all of that clothing dry. And we're indeed grateful that we're going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall. We're in the month of December. We're actually in our first month of the dry season. We don't usually receive this rainfall that we're about to experience within the next 24 hours at all. We're indeed grateful for that. Some people have some misconception that December is usually dry, is usually wet. No, no, it's usually dry. It's usually a dry period. And we can see the bar graph reflecting the same, especially as we get into February and March. That's when we expect the least amount of rainfall. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put a dent in the upcoming drought. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we do see a lot of clouds bring some isolated showers to sections of Guatemala, Belize, sections of northwestern Honduras, sections of Colombia, southern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, and we spoke about the rainfall that's affecting the Leeward Islands already, sections of the Eastern Caribbean, Cuba, the Bahamas, sections of Florida, heading into Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the Northeastern Caribbean, we can see that rainfall that's affecting portions of Puerto Rico as we speak. Definitely San Juan getting in on some amount of rainfall right now. Section of the US and British Virgin Islands, some hit or miss showers. St. Martin, not so much for St. Kitts right now. Not so much for Antigua and Barbuda right now, but we do see some rainfall to the north and east of there. Section of Guadeloupe, rainfall as usual, especially to the east of there. And we're going to be taking a look at the Barbados radar now. We see that rainfall coming in from the east across sections of Martinique, sections of St. Lucia, sections of the Grenadine Islands as we speak, St. Vincent, Grenada. Not so much taking place across Trinidad right now, but we do see some isolated rainfall coming into sections of Tobago, maybe the northeastern portions of Trinidad as we speak. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see all of that moisture associated with that system coming into sections of Florida as we speak, sections of northwestern Cuba, the Bahamas. Don't see much taking place across other areas, maybe Colombia and Guyana, not to mention French Guyana getting in on some amount of rainfall. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map is showing 1 p.m. on Sunday from the GFS. And we do see the blues that represent below average temperatures across sections of Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, Honduras, while it's above normal temperatures that are in the forecast for sections of Florida, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, most of Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, section of the eastern and southern Caribbean. As we can see by those yellows and oranges, we know this. The key on the right represents it all. The blues represent the below normal temperatures, the blues and greens that is, while the yellows, oranges, and reds represent the above normal temperatures. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, we do see that for 2 p.m. on Sunday, majority of the Caribbean should be in the clear, as all the dust associated with the Sahara Desert, as represented by the browns, should be across sections of the main development region and Africa, especially where we see those darker shades of blue of browns. That's where we're going to be having more in the way of those vigorous plumes of dust, maybe causing some hazy weather, triggering asthma or sinusitis or issues for some people. But all of that is across the sea at this time, or for 2 p.m. on Sunday, that is. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we do see that majority of the Caribbean should be receiving those blues that represent 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights. Some purples maybe for sections of the northeastern Caribbean that represent up to 2 meter wave heights. Section of the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, some 2 meter wave heights, the Bahamas, maybe more than that associated with that system. And all of this makes sense because the winds are going to be strongest wherever we have those highest wave heights. And we know the high winds are represented by those yellows, those gold colors, those burgundy purple colors, especially where we have that system that's going to be right there off the southeastern coast of the United States by 12 p.m. on Sunday. And we can see that for the most part, majority of the Caribbean should be having the winds coming in from the east, averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, gusting to 25 knots where we see those yellows, so it's a mixture. The northwestern Caribbean, winds coming in from the west, gusting for from 15 to 20 knots, maybe to up to 25 knots as well. Jamaica seems to be getting the least amount of winds for the next 24 hours, as we can see the flow wherever both of these air masses meet, the one from the east, the one from the west, coming in from the south. As relates to the rainfall forecast, now this is why we're here. This map is showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. Look at all the rainfall that's forecasted. Look at those purples that represent up to 3 inches of rainfall or more for sections of the northwestern Caribbean. So we can see the Euro is a bit more robust than the GFS, but the Euro is showing a lot of rainfall still for the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, Florida, Bahamas, sections of Cuba, the Cayman Islands. We can also see some rainfall in store for sections of Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. If they're not already getting the rainfall, it's definitely expected within the next 24 hours. Sections of the Windward and Leeward Islands, anywhere from Antigua and Barbuda southward, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of Barbados, sections of Tobago, not so much Trinidad, but definitely Tobago. You can also see some rainfall to the south of there. So Guyana, French Guyana, Suriname, sections of southern and western Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica as usual. Not so much rainfall for sections of Nicaragua, but definitely maybe sections of Honduras, coastal areas of Honduras that is, and sections of Guatemala. We can also see that there's not much rainfall in the forecast for Belize or the Yucatan Peninsula. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.